Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your boy Brandon Claybon, and this is the Actors Break. Now, on today's show, I have a talented actress by the name of Corinne Foxx. You guys have definitely heard her name before or seen her face, so you don't want to miss this interview. All right, see you guys soon.
I am going to take you to a place that no tourist would ever find in a million years.
How did you even find out about this place? Let's go. Hey!
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. How's it going for you?
Pretty good. Your hair looks great, by the way.
Oh my God, thank you. I was just thinking, it looks like I'm wearing a wig, but I'm not.
Well, look, I just want to jump in and just say thank you so much for joining us here on the Actors Break. I'm really excited to talk with you. I mean, although we are in the same acting class and have the same
Yes.
acting coach, I feel like this really lets me get to know you on a deeper level. So thank you once again. I really appreciate it.
Oh my God, no, I think I love the whole concept of this and what you're doing. I think it's so great and so necessary in our industry and our business, because I feel like there's not a lot of transparency in, like, how do you get started and how do you get going. And so I feel like what you're doing in the concept of the show is so needed.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the first thing that we really like to talk about here is an actor's first break. Now,
Mm.
I think I know what your first break is, being that you were in a feature film last year called 47 Meters Down, Uncaged.
Mm-hmm.
But please tell me, what do you think your first major break is?
It's funny because I knew it was coming on this show, so I knew I had to figure it out, because it's tough. Because yes, 47 Meters Down was my first feature film. I did lead role, which was huge, but I actually think maybe my first break was when I got on Beat Shazam, which is this game show that I co-host with my dad, and because that was really my first time um, in the industry, and I wasn't acting, but I was hosting and I was doing something I'd never done before. And so
You're
I do,
actually a DJ on the show, correct?
yeah, I'm like a DJ co-host type person.
Okay.
Yeah, they had done the show for a season and they had someone else doing it and it wasn't working out. And so they called me in and they were like, hey, like, we can make this a family thing. And so I had never hosted anything in my life,
Yeah.
but I went into this room of execs and then they were just like, just talk. And I was like, okay. And so I just talked and told stories and tried to make them laugh. And whatever I did in that room worked, because I ended up getting that job. And so I feel like that was really my first kind of break.
And so, do you think that experience really helped with getting in the room for producers and directors for your acting? Because I mean,
Mhm.
that's a huge show, but you're not necessarily acting; you're being yourself. But at the same time, it takes away a little bit of anxiety or nervousness when you're in front of the big wigs for your acting gigs.
Yeah, I mean, we shoot that show in front of a live audience. There's, I don't even know how many people, hundreds of people probably. And so I think just that nervousness of being in front of people and performing, like, that's a pretty big scale to do it. And so I think that really helps. But I also, yeah, I do think it helped me get into rooms, because I would go to auditions and people would be like, I love you on Beat Shazam, and I watch it with my kids, and da-da-da-da, and be like, oh, cool. So these people know who I am. They've seen me. I mean, it's not acting in the form that I'm like a character and I'm doing something else. But there's a lot of technicality to the show, and I
Right.
am reading lines off a teleprompter, and I am doing certain things at certain times. So yeah, I do think it helped for sure.
Awesome. Now, as far as acting, though, your feature film, I actually watched it last night on
Oh God.
Amazon. And no, it was really good, by the way. I mean, it kept me on the edge of my seat. And I actually had a friend over last night, and she was like, "What the hell are we watching?" And I was like, I didn't know it was going to be a horror, but it was intense. It was intense. Can you tell me a little bit more about the project?
Yeah. So we shot that, God, probably around 2 years ago now, but it came out last year. And it was, like we said, my first major role in a big film. And the funny thing about it is, there's no green screen or anything. We really shot everything underwater. And so one, it's my first time acting in a big movie. And second, I don't know how to swim. So now I have to learn how to swim to do my
don't
job.
feel bad. Don't feel bad because I don't know how to swim either.
I know. I figured you probably don't either. And so I'm out here, flew to the Dominican Republic, and we like jump right in literally into the water, and I have to take like a swim test, and I'm just like, Corinne, just pass it. This is your first job. We're not losing it today at the swim test. And so I figured it out, and I had to learn how to scuba dive for the movie as well. And it was as scary as it was for you, it was terrifying for me to do as well. It was definitely a very unique first big job experience.
And I love that you mentioned the fact that you didn't know how to swim, because even for me, I actually did a job. I basically lied in the audition and I told them I could swim. And once I booked the job, they wanted me to dive off this 20-foot diving board, and it frightened me. But at the same time, it was a challenge. And I think for you, the movie in its entirety was a challenge. And so I think it's kind of like you have to face your fears. And for any actor or anyone coming in any industry, the challenge is the test, but if you overcome it, the reward is so great, because the film did really well. You guys had an amazing budget. It looked great.
Thanks.
And I enjoyed it. It was a good ride. Afterwards, I was like, my nerves are really bad. I gotta go get a drink or something.
but I feel you on the, you got to do what you got to do to get the job. And I did as well, like lie to the director, and he was like, how's your swimming abilities? I was like, great, totally good. Don't even worry about it. And then I got there and they were like, oh, okay, she can't really swim like that. You got to do what you got to do. So I feel you on that. And yeah, I agree with you that I think if you're willing to push yourself a lot bit out of your comfort zone, you're going to be rewarded on the back end. And even though, there's parts of that film that is completely silly and random, I'm so proud of it, because I look at it and I'm like, wow, like I was so uncomfortable. I was so out of my comfort zone. I mean, I was literally shot a movie underwater. Yeah. And so I'm proud of it regardless, just because I know of the personal growth I had to go through to be able to do that.
And also you got to work with a lot of different vets that have been in the industry for years. And so that is experience that you don't, just happen to get by working, say like guest star roles or anything. You don't get to see like the top guns.
Absolutely, yeah. I got Nia Long played my mom, which was pretty cool. I never thought I would be able to say that. So that was really awesome, and just to see how she works and the advice that she gave on set, like that stuff is priceless, and that stuff you carry with you your entire career. And I think it was just instilled in me at a young age to always just ask, your elders, like their experience and how can I navigate this tricky world? And so I definitely did that on set with everyone, really.
I also wanted to talk about, because I contacted you and said, congratulations on your producing job. Right now, during this pandemic, we've kind of, as actors and creators, we've kind of had to adapt and maneuver in a way that's, just different and challenging for us, because a lot of production wasn't going on. Please tell us, how did this job come about, and tell us more about the project?
Yeah, so it's called Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. It's a sitcom that's going to be coming to Netflix that is loosely, not so loosely, based on my childhood with my dad, who's an actor as well. Like you were saying, because of everything that's going on in 2020, we started production in January, and we're just starting to film, and we had just shot our first episode in March. And guess what happened? Coronavirus happened, and we got shut down. And so we've been shut down. Like you said, there was this huge gap in time, this 4, 5, 6 months where we weren't doing anything, and everything was kind of paused. And I think I used that time as just an opportunity to strengthening all my other skills during this time, which I did use. But it was a tough time for actors. But I hope people use that time to just get stronger and prepare and gear up, so that when you do go back to work, you're so ready. And yeah, but anyways, I'm super excited about the project. It's so cool to see kind of my life fictionalized and brought to Netflix, which would be really cool.
Yeah, and I also want to bring up the fact that I love how you kind of skirted around. Oh, my dad's an actor too. Your dad is like one of the most talented actors out there, Jamie
Absolutely.
Foxx.
Yeah.
But mentioning your dad, like it seems like you guys are actually able to work together from Beats Shazam to this new project with Netflix. What is that experience like? Because it's not necessarily always from the acting front, it's from producing, it's from, being a co-host.
I think most 26-year-old girls would be like, I don't want to work with my dad every day. But as you know, he's such a light and a life. And for whatever reason, we creatively get each other and we speak the same language. And he really respects my creative decisions. Like on this, which is pretty cool, I'm an EP on this show. So I'm, kind of his boss. And there's a lot of times where I have to make decisions about the show, and I have a really strong opinion, and he completely hears me and lets me kind of guide the ship. And so it's definitely interesting to work with family, but it's such a blessing. And these are just the two things you see, but we are writing so many shows and movies together, and there's so many more things coming down the pipeline. And, I never want to be blind to, of course, there's like nepotism and I'm benefiting off all of him, but I have for so long tried to stand on my own 2 feet, and I really want to make a name for myself. And so while I'm so grateful to be able to work with him, I also am excited to work on things on my own, and I have different projects that I'm also doing too.
And I have to commend you on that because, once again, we're in the same acting class. Shout out to our acting coach, Faith Rumor.
Yes, love her.
But I know, your hard work, so I know a lot of people will talk about the nepotism and, having the last name, and that gets you in a lot of doors. Maybe so, but, there's pros and cons to your position as well. As far as another actor that's coming up from, basically knowing nothing, being very green, moving to Los Angeles or New York and just saying, this is the career that I want. I really have to say that you put in the time and effort. And even sometimes when you are really working and busy and stuff, you can't make it to class, but you always reach out, you let Faith know. Oh, and by the way, everyone in class told me to tell you hi.
Oh, I so want to get back in class. It's just, we're working such late days right now, but I will be back in class soon. But thank you for saying that. Yeah, I actually didn't get started into the industry until maybe a year after I graduated college. And I, for so long, felt like so many people were looking at me like, she's just going to become an actor and blah, blah, blah. And so I really strayed away from it for so long. I got a degree in public relations. I moved to New York. I got a job in advertising. I was like, screw this. I'm not doing what anyone thinks I'm supposed to do. And then I was sitting at my 9-to-5 job like, dang, I really I had actually followed my heart. And so, but I did put the work in, and I did study, and I've been studying, and I still continue to study, obviously. I'm very aware that doors open for me maybe easier than other people, but once I'm in the room, I think I actually have to work a little bit harder because I have a lot of eyebrows raised at me. People are like, okay, let's see what she can do.
Right.
And so I think I kind of have to show up even more. But yeah, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
And you actually are CEO of your own company, correct?
Yeah, Foxtails.
Foxtails. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, it's an online magazine. It's not really current right now, but it was an online magazine that was dedicated to, women and lifestyle and all this different topics that we were writing about. And also we were an online marketplace where we'd find up and coming female entrepreneurs and give them a platform to launch and shine. And I always felt like I have all these people that are interested in what I'm doing and what's Corinne doing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I wish I could take that attention and gear it to these other women who are doing such great things. And so that was kind of the motivation behind Foxtails. Now it's actually kind of becoming more of a production company as I'm kind of creating these projects, and
Nice.
It's kind of expanded a little bit. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. I had no business experience at all, and to run a company and payroll and all that stuff. I'm just now learning.
Yeah, but you probably got a lot of experience as well in college, saying coming from the advertising, marketing, public relations field, correct?
Yeah, public relations, as random as it felt at the time, has helped me in so many different ways, even just being an actor and being able to know how to present myself, and then also with my business and all that stuff. It's all really worked together. So
Yeah,
it was worth how much it cost.
I actually majored in public relations as well. So, yeah, so I can say that it's a benefit because even if you do have a publicist or a public relations company that's, helping you on certain things, you can really kind of back them up. It's like, okay, I can see this. I understand what's going on here. And I also think that with the Foxtails being a production company, I feel like the avenues that you can go down are limitless.
Yeah.
And it can follow you to the rest of your career.
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to just keep creating, and I like writing and producing so much. So I'm interested to keep going down those paths.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So where do you see yourself maybe in the next 3 to 5 years? Like, what do you want to be working on? And do you want to do more feature films? Do you want to do TV?
Gosh, that's such a good question. Actually, something that I've been thinking about recently, like where do I want to be? Um, I have this project that's kind of in the middle of developing with a studio right now, and I'm hoping that in 3 to 5 years we'll be doing that. It's a TV show, producing that and starring in it. And so I think 3 to 5 years from now, I hope that I'm still producing, creating, acting. I'd love to do feature films, but I do think TV is kind of, you're seeing huge stars now, like Meryl Streep doing TV, which you would never thought.
Right.
And so I think TV is so interesting right now, and it's such a big business that I would love to continue to be a part of.
One other thing that I wanted to ask you about is managers, agents. Now, for other actors, they talk about how tough this is with getting in the room or even just through submissions through email. For you, what was your experience like finding someone that you really trust and believe that they believe in you and your career and want to, take it to the next level?
It was really tough. I think in the beginning when I was first starting out, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I went through two managers who I felt like, you know, didn't really believe in me or kind of did, told me I had a lot of ideas. I'm an idea person. I was like, what can we do this? What about this? What about this? And I heard a lot of no's from them, and it was really discouraging. And then, I do think a lot of it is trial and error and, going with someone, and when it doesn't feel right, pivoting and going with someone and pivoting. And it's led me to my manager who I have now, James Barnett, who is literally one of the best managers I probably out there, and really tries his best to make all of these ideas I have come to fruition. And but I do think it's just trial and error, and it's a bummer that it's like that. But it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if you're into therapy, but finding a therapist, like it's not going to be a click right away, or just dating. Here we go, dating.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a click right away, but not being discouraged and knowing that there's someone out there for you. And also, I think sometimes you feel like, oh, like they took me in, and like I'm just gonna, no, like they're working for you, and like have a voice. And that took me a long time to find my voice and to stand up for myself and be like, no, I want to do this and I want to do this, and like let's make it happen. And just remembering that they're working for you.
And also it's, having good people on your team, people that you trust and believe in. Because I think at some point, you don't want, this asshole on your team. Like you just don't want this, and you don't want to even deal with that kind of energy. Now, of course, you want somebody that's a hustler and a go-getter, and it's gonna be on you. It's like, no, Corinne, like you gotta do this. Now you want someone like that, but I really think it's all about not going with the first person you meet. I meet several people, and I love that you brought up therapy, because Trust me, in this industry, we all need therapy.
Yeah. But maybe your first meeting with therapist, it might not vibe. And then sometimes you get turned off from it. You're like, well, I don't want to do that now. But it's like, no, keep going, keep giving it a try. And you're going to find that match. And then it's going to, you're going to be able to go down that path.
I was wanting to talk to you about social media. How do you feel about social media, and how do you feel about sharing, a part of you? I mean, because it's so like intrusive these days, like I don't know how much to give to people. And I know a lot of other actors and influencers and creatives, they're not sure either. But like everything is on social media these days. So how do you navigate that, and how do you balance that in your career?
Ah, gosh, I've been struggling with Instagram lately. I just discovered TikTok and I love it. By the way, just to say that. But I think for me, I'm very aware of my social media and what I'm putting on there. I do know that that's, a representation of me, and that does affect, if you get jobs and you don't get jobs sometimes. I really, in my mind, I place like my Instagram and things like that as a way for me to talk about the things that I really care about. And so I'm a ambassador for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, aka I just brought up therapy so casually. And I also work with Girl Up, which is a United Nations foundation dedicated to making young girls leaders and activists. And so I work with both, and I really use my platform to further the narrative on mental health and how to feel good, and when to know how to know when to ask for help, and then also with Girl Up and empowering young women and all that stuff. And so I really use it as an opportunity. I mean, I have a couple 100,000 followers. Like that's such
It's a lot.
a great yeah, it's such a great opportunity to spread the good word, and so I kind of am cautious of that. But I don't know, I don't share like too much personal stuff.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, but I don't tweet. I just retweet. I read tweets, but I don't tweet.
To be honest, Twitter is actually my favorite. Like I get all the news, all the information from Twitter.
Earthquake Twitter is the best.
Oh,
When you feel a little shake and you're like, hold on, wait, this isn't going to be on the news fast.
Earthquake.
I love Earthquake Twitter.
As far as your fans, your supporters, people that are following your career, what would you like them to know about you that you don't think they really know?
Kind of like what we were saying earlier. I think all the different interests I have, like I'm not really sure people know that I'm a writer. I'm so interested in different things, and I think my career is going to pan out in different ways, in ways that I'm not really expecting them to. Like I just launched a podcast because I'm interested in that, and I think I'd like people to know that they should expect to be surprised by my career, because I think I'm constantly surprised by it all the time. Like, oh, I didn't think I was going to do that. Oh, I didn't think I was going to do that. I didn't think I was going to host a game show, and then I did, and then
Wow.
all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know if that's something to know.
No, but
that's very specific.
No, I think that's really good because, back in the day, from what they tell us, you had to pick one thing, you had to pick one lane, and this is what you were. I think in this day and age, we're able to play the field. And I think really to survive, we have to be doing all of these things, and just being creative and being an artist and saying, no, I'm not just an actor, I'm a producer, I'm a director, I think that's commendable. And I'm glad that you're sharing that, because it's letting other aspiring actors and creatives know you don't have to just pick one lane anymore. Like you can do many things and be successful in those things as well.
Yeah. And my biggest piece of advice that I got was, don't sit around and wait for the role that you want, write it. And like, if you can write, you'll have a career forever. Actors, as you age, I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but the longevity of an actor isn't very long sometimes. But if you can write, you can work forever, because you can just keep creating. And so I think if there's one skill during this quarantine that like you really want to up, take a writing class. I've done a bunch on UCLA Extension.
Okay.
They're like these online classes. They have all these screenwriting courses. They're awesome. I highly, highly recommend to anyone who's interested in screenwriting but doesn't have a lot of experience, UCLA extension courses are amazing.
Good to know. Good to know. And once again, I really want to tell everyone, especially during this time, you know, adapt, move. I actually signed on as a producer for this documentary short. It's called Free to Be. It's about four members of the LGBTQIA plus community fighting for, you know, their rights and supporting Black Lives Matter. We're super excited about it.
That's awesome. I love that.
But I don't think if we didn't have this time, I don't know if I would have slowed down enough
Mm-hmm.
to do all of these different things, you know, to have the actors break, to be a producer. I didn't know I was going to produce ever.
Yeah.
You know, in spite of everything, I'm thankful for the time, and I'm so excited because, you know, who knows? I don't know if I would have ever done the actors break and had you on to talk like this. So it's great, and I thank you so much for being a part of it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I love what you're doing, and I totally agree with you. This is the time to work on all the things you've been putting off, or start dreaming a little bit differently, and your show is a testament to that.
All right. Well, congratulations once again. I enjoyed the film last night. But I definitely had a little tequila shot afterwards.
As needed.
As needed. But anyway, I will see you soon. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of the Actors Break. And we will be checking you out in anything that you are a part of in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.